who's actually going to get the most out of a mini PC that packs a desktop-class Ryzen 9 and a Radeon 890M? Who should walk away because the form factor or price just isn't a match for their needs? And for the average gamer or creator who's looking at a sleek box that promises 4K at 240Hz, is the cost justified compared with a traditional tower? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Those are the questions that keep most of us up at night before we click add to cart, especially when the market is flooded with tiny boxes that sound like overpromised hype. When I started digging into the Beelink SER10 Max, the first thing I realized was that it lives in a gray area between a high-end laptop and a compact desktop. The 12-core/24-thread Ryzen 9 HX processor is the same silicon you'd find in a premium gaming notebook, and the integrated Radeon 890M, based on RDNA 3, is basically a mobile-grade graphics chip that can push 1080p and even dip into 1440p territory with a decent frame rate. That's a far cry from the entry-level mini PCs that struggle with anything beyond web browsing. But the trade-offs become clear once you think about how you intend to use it. If you're a content creator who needs a machine that can handle video transcoding, run Photoshop or Premiere while you're also streaming a game, the SER10 Max feels like a surprisingly capable workhorse. Plug it into a 27-inch 1440p monitor, hit the 4K at 240Hz port for a secondary display, and you've got a dual-screen setup that can comfortably handle a 30-minute render without the fan screaming. In my own testing, the CPU stayed comfortably under 70°C during a full HD YouTube video export, and the chassis, despite being a 6-inch cube, managed to keep the noise level down to a soft hum. That quiet operation matters if you're editing late at night or recording voiceovers. No need to mask a whirring fan with a music track. For gamers, the story is a bit more nuanced. The Radeon 890M can run most modern titles at medium to high settings at 1080p, delivering a steady 60 frames per second in games like Fortnite or Apex Legends. If you're chasing ultra-high settings at 1440p, you'll start seeing dips, especially in more demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077. The real win is the 4K at 240Hz triple display capability, but you'll need an external GPU, eGPU, enclosure to push anything beyond the integrated graphics limits. If you already own an eGPU or are planning to invest in one, the mini PC becomes a sleek docking station that can still drive a 4K monitor at high refresh rates thanks to its USB 4/Thunderbolt compatible port. Without an eGPU, the integrated GPU is solid for casual gaming but not a replacement for a dedicated desktop graphics card. One area where the SER10 Max truly shines is storage and memory. Out of the box you get 32GB of DDR5 RAM and a 1TB NVMe SSD, which feels generous for a device this size. The DDR5 module runs at high frequencies, giving you snappy app launches and smooth multitasking. In a real-world scenario, I was able to have Chrome with 30 tabs, Photoshop, and a Steam client all running simultaneously without a noticeable slowdown. The 1TB SSD also means you can keep a sizable game library, a few 4K video projects, and your media files without constantly juggling external drives. Connectivity is another practical strength. The built-in 10 gigabits per second Ethernet port is a rarity in this segment, and it makes the mini PC ideal for a wired home office setup where latency matters. Think cloud-based video editing or low-ping gaming. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2 round out the wireless options, and the array of USB-C, USB-A, HDMI 2.1, and DisplayPort connectors gives you flexibility without needing a hub. I set it up in a small office where I connect a monitor, a USB-C external SSD, a keyboard, and a webcam, and the cable clutter was minimal. The only downside is the absence of an SD card slot, which some creators miss when they want quick media offloads. Now, let's talk about who should skip this. If you're a budget-conscious buyer whose primary need is simple office work, web surfing, or media consumption, you'll likely find the SER10 Max overkill. You could get a much cheaper Intel NUC or even a decent all-in-one PC for a fraction of the price. Also, If you're a hardcore gamer who demands 4K ultra-high settings with ray tracing, the integrated Radeon 890M won't cut it, and you'll still need to budget for an eGPU solution, which adds cost and complexity. Finally, anyone who wants a lot of internal upgradability like swapping out the GPU, adding a second SSD, or expanding RAM beyond 32 GB will be disappointed. The mini PC is essentially a closed box. The only real upgrade path is swapping the M.2 drive, and even that can be fiddly due to the compact chassis. From a value perspective, the price point makes sense if you're looking at the total cost of ownership for a small form-factor workstation. You're essentially paying for a compact desktop that already includes high-end CPU, ample DDR5 RAM, a fast SSD, and enterprise-grade networking all in a unit that fits on.